Straight to English.
Your right choice.
Let's begin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Let's be honest. Nobody likes cleaning.
Oh, speak for yourself. I find the mere concept of the labor required for it all to be exhausting before I even lift a paw.
Right.
But I will agree, the actual act of repeating these chores,
Yeah.
so tedious.
Exactly. It is hard work, but for me, there is something just so satisfying about it.
Yeah.
You know, the immediate reward. You go from a total disaster zone to a shiny, sparkling space in like minutes. I live for that transformation.
You focus on the endorphin rush. I focus on the sheer sudden predicament, the difficult situation that requires this kind of frantic, desperate labor.
Oh, yeah.
And that, my friend, is the perfect starting point for today's deep dive.
We're diving right into the absolute chaos of Mark and Sarah. These poor souls found themselves staring down the barrel of a cleaning emergency.
Seriously.
It's 60 minutes, just 1 hour to prepare for unexpected guests, and we are going to extract every single piece of vocabulary and every crucial verb you need to manage that pressure.
Our mission is to shortcut you past the panic. We're getting right to the essential language, the idioms, the delegation phrases, and the high-intensity verbs that transform you from a panicked mess into an efficient, if resentful, cleaner.
Okay, let's unpack this chaotic story. The suburban panic. How did the clock even start ticking?
It began with a truly villainous text message. Sarah was, clearly enjoying a moment of domestic bliss when her parents announced they were coming over for lunch.
Oh, no.
Not tomorrow, not later, in 1 hour.
60 minutes. That is not a heads up. That is a full-scale catastrophe siren. And I bet the moment they looked around the living room, their fear was completely justified.
Oh, justified is an understatement. The scene was less a home and more a geological stratum of modern consumption. Pizza boxes piled high, 3 days worth of clothes scattered across the sofa, just general disarray.
I can picture it now. And I can just hear her scream it. She looks at Mark, who's probably still deciding whether to even get off the couch, and just yells the ultimate accusation. It's a pigsty.
And that is our immediate essential idiom for you. When you say something is a pigsty, you are linking the level of messiness directly to the place where pigs live a sty. It's a very colorful, almost aggressive way of saying, this room is unacceptable, shockingly messy, and it probably requires some heavy-duty intervention.
I would simply refuse to enter a pigsty. But Mark couldn't refuse, could he? Once the initial shock wore off, they had to be hyper-efficient.
Absolutely. When time is the enemy, organization is key. They had to immediately divide the chores.
Right.
Sarah, sensing the urgency and perhaps the lower level of revulsion required, she took the kitchen.
Which meant Mark, probably the primary culprit for the general disorder, was tragically saddled with the living room and the undisputed worst task, the dreaded bathroom.
A truly ignoble fate. But before Mark could even address the horrors of the bathroom, they had to establish a crucial distinction in cleaning protocol. And this also happens to be a major sticking point for language learners.
We're talking about the difference between tidying up and cleaning. And I love this distinction because it defines two totally different levels of effort.
Precisely. To tidy up is a superficial, an aesthetic task. It's all about organization. It's making the space neat.
You're just hiding the chaos.
Exactly. Putting clothes away, stacking books. It's what you do right before the guests arrive to create the illusion of order.
It's visual deception. You're not removing dirt, you're just removing clutter. Whereas to clean, that's the real physical, labor-intensive work.
Yes, that involves removing actual dirt, grime, dust, usually with some kind of water or soap or a chemical agent. If you are engaging your executive function and thinking about where an object belongs, you are tidying.
Okay.
If you are applying friction and chemical degreasers, you are cleaning.
So the logistical sequence is key, right? And that's what matters to you listening. You had to tidy up first, get all the objects out of the way, then you can truly clean the surfaces under them.
And Mark was thrown headfirst into that tidying phase in the living room. He had to pick up the scattered clothes and put them away. A really simple but essential phrasal verb.
And then came the true challenge, the one that resonates with every single pet owner out there. The great rug crisis.
He needed to find the vacuum cleaner. And why was this so critical?
Because that rug was, and I quote, full of dog hair. You cannot hide dog hair. It sticks to everything. It is a fibrous monument to your pet, and it must be removed. I really relate to Mark in this moment.
Yes, the constant battle against canine residue. But once the tidying was complete, we move into the intense, technical vocabulary of deep cleaning. Mark moves from organizational tasks to chemical warfare.
Let's start with the surfaces. I bet Sarah was yelling instructions from the kitchen about the shelving, specifically that Mark needed to dust them.
Ah, the classic linguistic trap. When you hear to dust, your instinct might be to think of adding something, like to salt or to pepper your food.
Right.
But to dust means the exact opposite. It means to remove dust from a surface.
It's so confusing.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of all those tiny microscopic particles that settle on shelves and tables and electronics.
And this leads us directly to the tools of removal. You could use a classic feather duster for light maintenance, but if the shelves were truly neglected, Mark would have needed a damp rag or a specific microfiber cloth.
Oh, to actually trap the dust?
Yes, to capture and trap it rather than just shifting it around in the air.
And while he was fighting the dust, he also had the heavy artillery out the vacuum cleaner. That's the noun, and the action is to vacuum.
This is a great point for cultural and linguistic clarity. While Mark was using the verb to vacuum, we should probably acknowledge the regional variance.
Ah, right.
You will often hear people, especially British speakers, say, "I need to hoover the floor."
Because Hoover is a huge brand, just like calling all facial tissue Kleenex or something.
Precisely. But if you want to ensure international clarity and avoid sounding overly specific, stick with the verb to vacuum. It's, universally understood.
Okay, now, onto the floor mechanics. This requires precision. The difference between sweep and mop. If you mess this sequence up, you've totally failed the cleaning test.
To sweep is a strictly dry action. It requires a broom to push the loose dirt, crumbs, and dust across the floor and into a dustpan. It's preparatory.
So you sweep first to collect all that visible debris. Then you can move to the wet work, to mop. Sarah had to tackle the kitchen floor, which was sticky, a universal sign of culinary neglect.
Sticky surfaces demand washing. To mop means washing the floor using a mop and a bucket of water, usually with some cleaning solution in it. You are cleaning up spills and residual grime that sweeping alone just cannot touch.
If you were looking for quick, practical insights into everyday English scenarios, especially those that involve life's high-pressure moments like a cleaning panic, you should definitely subscribe to Straight to English. We take the drama out of the learning process.
A very good point. Now, back to Mark and his suffering. We save the most intense verb for the most wretched task, the bathroom.
Ugh. Mark's fate was to have to scrub the toilet and the shower.
To scrub is not a polite action. It means to clean hard with immense energy, applying forceful friction, typically with a stiff brush or a coarse sponge.
Why?
Because you are trying to remove tough, stubborn dirt that has decided to become one with the surface.
It is the maximal effort verb. Think about those gross stains or hardened food residue. If you burnt sauce onto the bottom of a pan, you don't just wash it, you have to scrub it off with steel wool.
That's a perfect analogy.
Mark had to apply that same aggressive, focused energy to the porcelain. My sympathy is boundless.
His sacrifice was necessary. He had to be efficient, forceful, and quick. And while he was scrubbing, Sarah was doing the final frantic wiping down of the countertops in the kitchen, which is a much gentler action.
So the clock is ticking down, the house is filling with the scent of pine cleaner and desperation, and Mark is scrubbing away the evidence of his neglect. Did they make it?
Miraculously, yes. The doorbell rings just as Mark announces, completely exhausted, that he is finished. The pigsty has been transformed into a functional, if temporary, clean space. He immediately vows to never contribute to the cleaning process again.
Which is, of course, a lie we all tell ourselves after big clean.
Of course.
The outcome is great, but the key learning for you, our listener, is how they manage the communication during the crisis. You need those practical phrases for delegating shared tasks.
Absolutely. You need a phrase just to declare the emergency. We need to tidy up before they arrive. Simple, direct, and it sets the stage for action.
And then the specific delegation. Can you vacuum the rug? Or Mark, please scrub the shower? It uses that actionable verb right up front.
And for long-term domestic peace, especially with roommates or family members, the perfect phrase for fair division and, routine maintenance is, whose turn is it to do the dishes?
That phrase, whose turn is it, is brilliant because it establishes accountability and it implies a pre-existing schedule. It's so practical and it avoids confrontation.
And one last thing. When you are under pressure, like Mark and Sarah were, natural English speeds up and it contracts. You might spend time practicing put them away, but in the real world, when you're rushing, it almost always collapses into put them away.
Right, put them away.
Listening for that speed and fluidity is just as important as knowing the words themselves.
So, whether you are facing a minor tidying task or an all-out emergency that requires a full hour of scrubbing and mopping, you now have the advanced vocabulary and the conversational tools to manage that crisis.
We've navigated the chaotic narrative, separated the high-effort verbs from the low-effort ones, and survived the embarrassment of the pigsty. We've solidified the importance of these routine domestic assignments, which we call chores.
And as a final reflection, let's consider the psychological toll of this labor. We'll leave you with the ultimate question posed by Mark, Sarah, and cleaning victims everywhere. What is your least favorite chore?
Is it the truly never-ending task of folding laundry, which seems to reproduce itself the moment you look away? Perhaps the tedious process of ironing clothes or the physical strain of washing a towering pile of dishes by hand?
Or the elusive quest for streak-free windows?
Everyone has that one chore they try to avoid.
Use that thought to practice your new high-intensity vocabulary. Think about which chore demands the most scrubbing energy from you.
Keep learning, keep practicing, and remember our final instruction. Keep your language skills and your living space impeccably clean.
Until next time, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now to Straight to English to keep getting these essential deep dives.
Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to subscribe.